Boogeyman paradox. In the highest levels of mixed martial arts, there are fighters who are great, and then there are fighters who are problems. A stylistic problem is a competitor whose core skill set is so overwhelmingly dominant that it warps the entire strategic landscape around them. Royce Gracie did it with jiu-jitsu. Khabib Nurmagomedov did it with sambo wrestling. And now, the middleweight division is facing its own unsolvable puzzle. Khamzat Chimaev. The paradox of fighting Chimaev is that everyone knows exactly what's coming. There are no secrets. Yet knowing the test and passing the test have proven to be two entirely different challenges. Today we're not just going to look at what Chimaev does, we're going to break down the intricate system behind why it works and explore the core components that make him, for all intents and purposes, unbeatable. The genesis of Bohr's forging the weapon. This level of dominance isn't born overnight. It's forged. Chimaev's foundation was built long before the UFC, honing his skills as a multiple-time Swedish national freestyle wrestling champion. This elite wrestling base, combined with a natural Chechen toughness, created a perfect storm. When he entered the UFC, we saw the raw potential. He ran through John Phillips and Rhys McKee in a record 10 days, barely absorbing a single strike. Then came the 17-second knockout of Gerald Meerschaert, a message that he was more than just a wrestler. These early fights weren't just showcases, they were the rapid establishment of his terrifying reputation. Pillar 1, the Blitzkrieg wrestling system. Let's dissect the primary weapon. Calling it wrestling is an oversimplification. It's a multi-layered system designed for MMA. It starts with the Blitzkrieg entry. Chimaev doesn't waste time. His first objective is to shoot an explosive double-leg takedown, often with minimal setup. He relies on pure athleticism and speed to close the distance before his opponent can establish their striking rhythm or defensive posture. It's a high-risk, high-reward strategy that almost always pays off. But the most dangerous wrestlers aren't the ones who land the first shot. They're the ones who never stop shooting. This is his anaconda squeeze chain wrestling. The perfect example is his fight against Kamaru Usman, arguably the greatest anti-wrestler in welterweight history. Usman stuffed the initial shot, but watch here. Chimaev doesn't disengage. He instantly transitions from the double leg to a single, then to a body lock, constantly improving his position and forcing Usman to carry his weight. He makes defending the takedown more exhausting than just conceding it. Once on the ground, the system transitions to his signature control, the Chechen handcuff. By pinning one of his opponent's wrists to the mat, he effectively removes 50% of their ability to defend or get back up. This frees his other hand to posture up and land brutal, fight-altering ground and pound. It's a position of complete control and constant threat, a staple of the Dagestani and Chechen style of fighting. Pillar 2, the apex predator's ground game. Chimaev's ground game is the definition of offense-based grappling. He's not holding on for dear life, he's actively hunting. This constant aggression forces opponents into a dilemma: defend the punches and expose your neck, or defend your neck and absorb punishing blows. We saw this against Robert Whittaker. The pressure of the ground and pound forced Whittaker to adjust, which opened up the lane for a brutal face crank. Against Li Jingliang, the threat was so overwhelming that the choke was a formality. He uses one threat to set up another, creating a web that is almost impossible to escape. Case study, the trial by fire. For the first time in his UFC career, against Gilbert Burns, the system stalled. Burns, a world-class BJJ practitioner with legitimate power, not only survived the initial onslaught, but dropped Khamzat. This was the moment of truth. How would the Boogeyman respond when faced with real adversity? The answer revealed a new layer: pure grit. Chimaev abandoned a purely technical approach and engaged in a brawl, proving he had the chin and the heart to win a war of attrition. He was forced to rely on his striking, and while it wasn't pretty, it was effective enough to get the job done. This fight didn't expose him, it completed him. It proved he could win even when his plan A wasn't enough. Case study, the Champion's Gauntlet. With that experience under his belt, Chimaev evolved from a pure finisher to a punishing controller. Against Kamaru Usman, he put on a 10-8 masterclass in the first round, demonstrating that his wrestling was a level above even the most credentialed champions. While his cardio faded, the damage and dominance from that first round were enough to secure the victory. He then perfected the strategy against Dricus Du Plessis for the title. For 25 minutes, he put on a suffocating display of control. While some criticized the lack of damage, they missed the point. He systematically dismantled the engine of the world champion, neutralizing every bit of his offense and winning every single round on the judges' scorecards. He proved he could implement his will for 5 full rounds against the best in the world. The intangibles, the aura of inevitability. All these technical skills are amplified by a powerful psychological weapon, his aura. Opponents enter the cage already defending the takedown. Their entire game plan is reactive, not proactive. Chimaev's sheer confidence, his forward pressure, and the reputation that precedes him create a sense of inevitability. Fighters become so focused on surviving the storm that they forget how to launch their own offense. This mental pressure is an unquantifiable but crucial part of his success. Deconstructing the blueprint. Can he be beaten? So if the blueprint is so obvious, why hasn't it worked? The proposed path to victory is to survive the early wrestling storm, drag him into deep water, and exploit his questionable striking defense and cardio. But this is far easier said than done. The problem is that surviving the storm leaves you so physically and mentally drained that you have nothing left for the later rounds. By the time his cardio begins to fade, his opponent's will to win is often already broken. To beat Chimaev, a fighter needs a unique combination: the takedown defense of an elite wrestler, the 5-round gas tank of a marathon runner, and the knockout power to make him pay for every entry. Right now, that fighter simply does not exist at 185 pounds. The Khabib parallel and the legacy question. When you put it all together, the Blitzkrieg wrestling, the punishing top control, and the psychological warfare, you get a fighter who operates on a different plane. The parallel to Khabib Nurmagomedov is undeniable. Both are grapplers so dominant that they negate every other aspect of MMA. Both are predictable, yet unstoppable. And I believe their careers will mirror each other. Chimaev will likely defend his title a few more times, mauling every style put in front of him, and then, just like Khabib, he will retire undefeated, leaving a legacy of dominance and a permanent question in the minds of fans. Could anyone have ever beaten him? Based on the evidence we have, the answer is a resounding no. Khamzat Chimaev's system is, for this era, perfect. But what do you think? I've laid out my case. Now I want to hear yours. Who is the one fighter from any weight class that you believe has the perfect stylistic toolkit to solve the Chimaev puzzle, and what would their exact game plan need to be? Let's discuss it in the comments below.